My name is Jim Ramsey. I'm in the Marriage and Family Therapy course at Texas A&M Central, University of Central Texas. My chosen approach I'm wanting to focus on is called emotionally focused therapy. It focuses on the emotional system, which includes both couple and individual systemic processes, and it's composed of 3 stages. Okay, so we think of it as 3 stages. The first stage of therapy involves the therapist identifying the couple's behavioral patterns of interaction and how the emotions and attachment needs are contributing to the problematic behavior that we see in front of us. And then the second stage, the therapist helps couples restructure their interactions so that each person is able to express their experience in a sense of safety and an opportunity for connection, safe connection. So in the third stage, the therapist helps the couple to solidify new patterns and new ways of behaving with one another. So that's the 3 stages of emotional focused therapy. Good question. Initially, the experience was an experience I had witnessing the therapy in action. It was amazing how quickly an argument, a very heated argument, became a very calm and de-escalated interaction, and where I actually observed it happening in front of my face. And then the second reason why it's important to me personally is the effectiveness of the process. 70 to 73% of couples are resolving issues if they experience this kind of therapy. And 86% of all couples who are in this kind of therapy with a trained therapist receive significant progress in their care. So. Well, according to Sue Johnson, who's one of the co-creators of this form of therapy, the therapist's role is more of a process as a consultant who helps the couple reprocess their emotional experiences that they're having. The therapist is also seen, another metaphor is as a choreographer who helps the couple to be better at doing the emotional dance that they're involved in. And one way that the therapist is not in this method of therapy is as a coach who just kind of teaches, communication skills and speaker listener technique or something like that. Nor is the therapist seen as a guru. No guru here, not a wise sage that can look into the distant past or see your future. This is just someone nor is it someone who is a strategist trying to employ some kind of really quirky, paradoxical intervention. This is really just about how we help people consult on how they relate to one another. I witnessed this actually occurring. Just several months ago, I was in a situation where I had been as a chaplain in the Army. I'd been in individual counseling with a soldier, a friend of mine, in my unit for various issues and things that we were counseling for. And the topic of his relationship with his wife came up, and they had been experiencing some difficulties. And so one time he had kind of this, things were going great all the time, and then they would have this blow up and this big fight and argument. And I didn't know what to make of it, and I really hadn't experienced it or seen it, witnessed it. So I was kind of at a loss. But one day they called me in the middle of crisis, and I went over to them, and in the process of this argument, and I couldn't do anything. I had no skills. I had no way. I didn't know, where am I going to go from here? I feel really stuck. What am I going to do to help them in this situation? And so I sought consultation, and I asked a family life chaplain, a chaplain who's trained in marriage and family therapy, especially EFT, to come and help me co-counsel with this couple. And one day they were in a crisis again, and they called us up, and we had availability, so we brought them right in. And they're in the process of this heated exchange and argument. And it was very clear that this other chaplain had the skills, because he walked right in. He noted that, he found out that they were Georgia Bulldogs fans and that they hated Alabama. And he could see that their interaction, was this cycle. It was a cycle of hurt and pain. And he was able to hear them and their emotion and what their fears were. And he used some of the skills to de-escalate the conflict and to allow them to externalize the pattern, the cycle that they were participating in. And they called that Alabama, since they hated Alabama. And so they said, okay, this is Alabama. And anytime you notice yourself getting into this cycle, know that you're in Alabama and it's something you hate and you want to change it. And so, like I said, within the course of an hour, we see dramatic change from a couple that's in an intense argument into one that's understanding, empathetic, and starting to change. So it was really a beautiful thing. Very key intervention is validation. And this is where the therapist will use the validation to convey a sense of it's okay for you to have this experience and to have this emotional response. It allows people to be where they're at and what they feel. Another intervention is attending to the strong emotions and reflecting back to the person, a deep understanding and acceptance of their emotions as well. So it's not only validating, but it's also accepting. Another thing that therapists do is they track the patterns and the cycles of interactions and reflect on these to help the couple understand their relationship. So another intervention is the reframe, and where the therapist will reframe the negative interaction cycle as a couple's common enemy. We saw that in the example I just gave. They call that cycle Alabama. Therapists often also soften the emotions to create emotional bonding, to change interactional patterns, and to redefine that relationship so that they can feel safe and connected, so that they can establish positive cycles. Emotionally focused therapy breaks the negative cycles by getting to the heart of the matter and creates new cycles of relational health. We have these negative relational cycles, and that's usually what brings people in a crisis to our counseling. And so this is a great tool to use to allow them to see, hey, this is happening, we're a part of this, but what's the heart behind it? Why are we reacting this way? Why is the cycle this way? And if we could externalize the cycle apart from the couple or the individual, we depersonalize the problem and say, okay, this is what's happening, and it's kind of attached to your need for acceptance and love and security and that kind of thing, and togetherness. So now that we've externalized that negative cycle, we can create a positive cycle. How do I hear what your needs are to my spouse? How do I hear what she's really saying when she's saying this, or what he's really saying when he's doing that? And so creating this positive cycle really leaves no more room for the negative.